welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to discuss about the OSI security architecture in the cryptography. The OSI security architecture covers three important things. The first one is security attack, the security services and security mechanisms. That is, first one is security attack, the second one is security services and third one is security mechanism. What is security attack? Any action that compromises the security of information owned by an organization is called as attack. Means these type of attackers can do anything over the network. It can do any type of actions over the transmission of data. So this is called as security attack. And then what is a security service? The services are intended to counter the security attacks. Means we need to protect our data over the network from the different types of attackers. Okay, if you want to protect your data from the different types of attackers over the network, we need to provide the some security services. And what is the security mechanisms? As we know that we need to protect our data from different types of attackers, we need to provide the some security services. To implement these security services, we require the security mechanisms. What is a security mechanism? It is a process that is designed to detect and prevent and recover the data from different types of attackers. Okay, so this is called as security mechanism. Now let us discuss about what is the security attack and what are the security services and what are the security mechanisms. Now basically there are two types of security attacks are there. One is passive attacker, the second one is active attacker. What is a passive attacker? Passive attackers are the attackers, they can monitoring the transmission of data over the network. That means they can see the data only over the network. Is the data is transmitted or not? That is the passive attackers. There are two types of passive attackers are there. The first one is release of the message content and the second one is traffic analysis. What is the release of the message content? The data can be transmitted over the network or not. Okay, and what is the traffic analysis? How much data can be transmitted over the network? Okay, and what is the actual problem with the passive attackers? As we know that the passive attackers can monitoring the data. That means okay, it is not possible to detect this type of passive attackers because of simply they can monitoring the transmission of data. Look at the diagram to understand clearly what is a passive attacker. Now there is a sender and there is a receiver. In between the sender and receiver there is a internet connection. Now the passive attackers can monitoring the transmission of data. Okay, that's why it cannot do the any type of actions. It cannot do the any modifications. They cannot do the anything. Just to see the transmission of data over the network. That is the passive attackers. Okay. And what is the second one? That is called as active attackers. Active attackers are the attackers. They can not only see the data, that means not only monitoring the transmission of data, they can steal the data from the network. If you steal the data from the network, they can do anything. That means they can modify the data. They can alter the data. Okay, so that is active attackers. What is active attacker here? It involves some modifications of the data stream or the creation of false stream. That means not only see the data, they can alter the data, they can modify the data. Okay, so that is called as active attackers. Basically there are four types of active attackers are there. The first one is masquerade, the second one is replay, and third one is modification of the message, and fourth one is denial of service. Now we'll discuss about each and every one. What is a masquerade? Masquerade, it is one of the attacker. Now directly the third party only can act as a sender. Look at the diagram to understand. Masquerade means path 2 is active. Now there is a communication in between the sender and receiver. Okay, totally there are three paths are there. The one is that is called as third party can access our data. The second one is it can do the modifications, and third one is direct communication in between the sender and receiver. Now what is a masquerade means? Now second path is active. That means if there is no any communication in between the sender and receiver, directly the third party only can act as a sender and it can forward the message to the receiver. This is called as masquerade. What is the second one? A replay. Replay means now there is a three paths are active. That means there is a communication in between the sender and receiver. Now there is a third party. The third party can receive the data from the network and he can give the reply to the receiver. That means after capturing the data here, simply they can give the reply to the false message to the receiver. This is called as replay. And third one is modification of the message. What is the modification of the message? It can capture the data from the network and it can alter the data. That altered data can be transmitted to the receiver. This is called as modification of the message. And the final one is denial of service. That is only path 3 is, so that is now denial of service means no connection in between the sender and receiver. That means that can be done by the third party. Now we'll discuss one by one. What is a masquerade here? It takes place when one entity pretends to be and different entities. That is now path 2 is active. That means he only can capture the data, he only can act as a data, he only can act as a sender to send the message to the receiver. And replay, the capture of data unit and its subsequent retransmission to produce an unauthorized effect. That means you can capture the data, you can give the, that is called as replay message to the receiver. What is the modification? You can modify the unwanted data, you can add some more information to the sender. And what is the denial of service? It prevents the normal use of communication facilities. That means is there any communication, simply you can deactivate the communication in between the sender and receiver. After that you can capture the data or you can send the particular data to the receiver as well as sender. So this is what are the 4 types of active attackers. And the second one is, so what are the security services? Totally there are 4 security services are there. One is authentication, the second one is access control, and third one is data confidentiality and data integrity and non-repudiation. So now come to here, what is authentication? Authentication is identification to identify the trusted users. Authentication means only identification to trust the users. Okay, so that is called as authentication. Okay, so what is access control? The prevention of unauthorized use of resource. That means suppose if you want to access any data, you need to provide some credentiality. Okay, that is called as limited accessing. Only the authorized users can access our data. That is called as access control. And what is data confidentiality? The protection of data from unauthorized disclosure. That means only the sender and receiver can send the data and receive the data. No third party can access our data. Okay, that is called as data confidentiality. As we know that what is the data integrity? It is no modifications can be done over the network. That is the assurance that data received are exactly sent by the authorized entity. That means whatever the data can be transmitted, whatever the data can be received by the user. So simply there is no any modifications. They can trust that the received data cannot be modified and cannot be altered by the sender as well as receiver. Okay, and last one is non-repudiation. What is a non-repudiation? Which provides the protection against denial of one of the entities involved in the communication of having participated in all or part of the communication. If you do the any communication, we must provide that what is the proof. Okay, suppose if you receive the any mail, okay, that is a proof of to send the to show that the message can be received from the sender. Okay, suppose a simple example for non-repudiation. Okay, if you do the any transaction over the phone pay, okay, so it can generate the receipt, it can generate the what is that which is called as transaction ID. Your transaction ID is the proof for doing the transaction. Okay, that is called as non-repudiation. For every transaction, for every communication, we need to provide some proof for the particular transaction. That is called as non-repudiation. These are the 5 different security services. And the last one is security mechanisms. As we know that to implement the security services, we require the security mechanisms. Let us see here what are the various security mechanisms are there. Encipherment, digital signature, access control, data integrity, authentication exchange, routing protocols. These are the security mechanisms to implement the security services. This is called as overview of the OSI security architecture in the cryptography. Thank you.